HMC Magic NFL assumes no responsibility for its content, and the Wade and Carter Show bears no responsibilities for their opinions and guests on their show.
Happy Canada Day. America's dad is released from prison. More issues in Miami. All that and more coming up on today's Wade and Carter Show.
And that's it.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning to you,
How
sir.
are you today?
Very well, very well. Rested. Tan, rested, and ready.
Happy Canada Day to you.
Hey, to you too. Do you Canadians, I know you say that, and I know you're Canadian. Do you share that with Americans, or is that something an American would say to anybody? I learned about Canada's traditions from you, so.
We don't have many.
No, well, just, hey, cheers. That's kind of the prevailing breath.
That is.
Cheers. Sorry.
So, what do we say? Happy Canada Day to each other? Is that what you're saying?
Canadians,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
Is it like saying?
It's like saying "Go Cougs" if you're a Washington State Cougar.
But is it like saying July 4th, or is it like saying Merry Christmas?
No, it was a peaceful transition.
See, you were telling me that I remember when Canada, I wasn't there, 1867, okay? But
Close.
Canada got away from England, which I think in a lot of ways was kind of probably like America, right?
Yeah, it got away way back when the one continent split into several continents and it slowly drifted across the Atlantic. That's how Canada got away.
No, but wasn't it like kind of a taxation without representation situation for them? Taxation without representation?
No, because Canada's still taxed to the hilt. So I don't think that was
not by England, though.
No. No, it was never really that. It was just more control, which was probably taxes. But and I think eventually England just got tired of dealing with the folks across the pond.
Well, because you've got French Canada, and I didn't understand.
They kept losing the wars to the British, and that's how they ended up not controlling Canada.
So that it was, the U.S., folks, before we get to the weather, the United States is the one that's always accused of colonialism and that we're out there trying to expand our country and all that. When we unconditionally received
every
surrenders,
country and people on Earth back then were doing the same thing.
But we got unconditional surrenders from Japan, from Germany,
Mexico.
And all we did was pour, at the time, billions of dollars into those countries to rebuild them and then turn them back over to themselves. In the old days, when colonialism was really happening, if England beat France in a war across the Atlantic, the ownership of Canada changed hands to the Brits.
Yeah.
It was part of the United Kingdom, the British Empire, through acquisition. Interesting. I think it's awesome that Canada is now for 155 years, 154 years, I guess, 67 to 21. 154
carry the one.
Yeah. 154 years of Canadian self-rule, which we could go on for days about how that's gone.
Although I think it wasn't until 81 we actually severed all ties with England. We still had to take any laws we passed had to go to the Queen for our Governor General.
Which is dumb. Yeah, think about that. Like she had any real authority. Is the Queen Elizabeth still on the money?
Yeah, she's still alive.
Just out of respect.
Yeah, I'm not even sure how that tradition started, but I remember seeing coins of King George and.
What about Trudeau and blackface? That would be good on the loonie. Is that a Canadian coin?
That is the Canadian dollar, yes.
The loonie.
Yeah. I think the U.S. could go to dollar coins without
no problems.
No problems. Everybody in Canada thought, oh, it's the end of the world.
Yeah, I don't know why we need. We had the dollar.
They don't even
coin.
use pennies anymore up there. If you go buy something, everything's rounded up or rounded down to the nearest, 5 cent or or zero.
They round it all up and give the money to the government.
Well, there's that too. Should we do this?
Folks, the Wade and Carter weather is brought to you by our great friends at Deerland Feed. For everything you need, we say there's Deerland Feed.
They will be closed Saturday and Sunday for the Independence Day weekend. So
and Monday?
The sign did not say Monday.
Okay. It's
They will be closed Saturday, July 3rd.
75 and partly cloudy in Victoria. I call that mostly sunny. I just do. I'm an optimist.
You are.
Heading to a high today of 90. That's going to suck.
Yeah, chance of some pop-up showers, thunderstorms in the early afternoon area. But other than that, I think we're going to have a nice day.
Maybe a little cold front. You never know. It's Texas.
So,
speaking of Texas, how excited were you, honestly? And if you say not at all, that's fine.
It's going to be 97 in Calgary for the folks listening in Canada, and 97 in Salmon Arm. I don't know what it's going to be. I don't know what it's going to be in Moose Knuckles.
Salmon Arm,
British Columbia.
Yeah, and look, salmon don't have arms. I mean, salmon arm, I don't know. I just don't know. Canada with their names. Then there's a suburb.
Sycamoose.
Trout armpit. I mean, they don't.
Trout groin.
Right, trout groin. Craziness. How excited were you, or did you have any emotion at all? I mean, I personally didn't. I'm just trying to lead into this since it's live radio. How did you feel about President Trump going to the border, actually going to the border where the crisis is?
Yeah, and he made a point of that.
Yeah, very flattered to see. I saw several photos, AP Newswire photos of our own Sheriff Louderback. He wasn't making it up. He was there with DJT. I mean, they were this close together as you and I. And Secret Service guy was all that was between them. No kidding. But I just find it interesting that the hypocrisy of the Biden administration in general, they send Kamala to El Paso to cavort with faithful Democrat, minions, nowhere near what's really going on. She's like, this isn't so bad. And then Donald Trump says, I'm going down to where the action is.
Yeah, went down to Weslaco in that area.
How about that? Hi, Jeff Finley.
Look, I fixed it this morning.
Ricky Champagne King.
Diane Tippett, good morning to you. Happy birthday to Diane. We don't do that, but if we did, we'd wish her
we
a
would
happy
never.
birthday.
I mean, I know Diane well, and she would never expect it from us, which is why we would never say, happy birthday, Diane. I hope you have a great day in your new office.
Scott Snow, good morning. Justin Glass is in. Judge Posey, appreciate the Happy Canada Day sentiments.
Very nice, sir. Good morning,
Bobby
Judge.
Leister's in. The Leisterometer holding steady to 1,005, I'm assuming. Daniel White, good morning. Karen Webb, Bobcat Watley. Jared Glass.
We're up to
Sheriff Louderback is in. Clint Ives, Ryan Hopping, good morning. Kendra Douglas, Robin Moore Knipling, Patrick Strauss, David Glass, Natalie Mayer, good morning. Torm Bales.
Sheriff was looking sharp yesterday. Good job.
Patrick Strauss says, Mississippi State wins the World Series, their first national title in any sport.
Yeah, and I would like to go on record for you folks and tell you, I told you so. When that game was over the other night after they beat Texas, I told you Vanderbilt would win the first game because Mississippi State had been in a war. But once their pitching rested, they just had too much depth, and they won back-to-back games. Hats off.
Convincingly, what was it, like 9-0 yesterday? Wasn't it?
Yeah, Mississippi State Bulldogs boldly going and representing the SEC. Good for them.
Absolutely destroyed them.
Yeah. So, to me, Texas finishes third. I mean, that's the way I look at it. Right? Mississippi State, Vandy, then Texas.
Yep.
They might finish second because they gave Mississippi State a lot better battle than Vandy did.
Vandy took one from them.
Yeah, well, Texas took one from them.
They're on the same.
We'll see.
I think it's harder to win the last two than the first.
No doubt about it.
Series
I tell people all the time, you see these up-and-coming coaches, and they take a team from 3-8 to 9-2. It's a lot easier to go from 3-8 to 9-2 exponentially easier than it is to go from 9-2 to 11-0.
Absolutely.
Very, very difficult to get those last 2 wins. Ask the Aggies; they know that.
Very difficult to get, to go undefeated in
In any
college
sport.
football these days. So back to the president.
Yeah, what do you think?
45 being on the border. I listened to some of his remarks and I thought they were pretty good and very pointed. And he called out the Democrats as they should be called out. But where we need to go see the wall and admire the wall, the Great Wall. They admire that wonderful wall, stuff like that.
That kind of stuff wears me out.
Yeah.
But you know what that is? Honestly, you know what that is? He's an arrogant Yankee. I mean, don't get your feelings hurt. We can still love him as president. At the end of the day, he's a New Yorker. Hey, look what I did over there. I did that. That's just the way they are. And it's not his fault that he's a Yankee.
Pretty Great Wall. They weren't coming through the wall.
If he'd been born down here, he'd be as bald as torn bales. He'd be tan. He'd be thinner, and he'd have about a 4 handicap.
Probably so.
You know, come on.
Janelle Sarles in, Rena Scherer, good morning, Lisa Poole. That was the only part yesterday was that I thought
Let's
it was
go
a pretty
look
good
at
visit.
the beautiful
Yeah,
wall.
let's go admire it.
It's super duper. I love it. Yeah.
But he did. He pointed out, hey, Kamala didn't even come to where the action is.
Yeah, good for him.
Called her out on the BS, but
Difficult even for the Dems to deny that she did not really represent America.
And it just shows you where he and how he is still renting space in all their heads that he was going to get there and and Kamala had to hurry up and get on her horse and get down there.
Well, now I'm going to agree with what Matt Oker says here, but we'll talk about the symbolism of politics. You may have to scroll down a little bit, but it says actually going to the border is nothing but theater. That entire area was swept prior to arrival, so nothing was observed in its natural state. No doubt about it. But Matt, for what it's worth, he was down there with our own, like Sheriff Louderback, who could say, hey, look, you see right there, on a typical day, you'd see backpacks and stuff strewn there, and this is where they're coming across. And while it's all symbolic, all politics is symbolism anyway, the idea that he actually went to the right part of the border means
isn't
something
lost
to me.
on most people.
Yeah, as opposed to Kamala just, I'm going to the border. Y'all have complained enough. I'm going. What do I wear? Okay, I'll fly into El Paso, have some Mexican food and fly back to D.C. That's what she did. At least what he did actually symbolized the reality. But I agree with Matt that there's no doubt that it's the
Would have been and the videos might have been even better if they actually would have had people pouring across the border where he was standing.
Well, and I'm surprised that they didn't stage some people. Well, here comes a family now. But cue the deer, right? When you go into the neighborhood, cue the deer. The other side of that is, for Trump to go down there, it's no different than when we had Governor Abbott down here post Harvey, and he went to Rockport, and literally who was it? It was him and. Was it John Cornyn, Ted Cruz? Who was it?
I don't remember the hand and the limbs.
It was Mike Pence. The vice president was down there. You remember George Strait was down there? George Strait raised more money for the Rockport area than $40 million. And he says, okay, I'm going to go do a live show pay-per-view, and he raises $40 million. Yeah. That's how much stroke George has, and gives the money to the Rockport Fulton area. But they had a video that we made fun of here because it was nothing more than a photo op of Vice President Pence picking up a limb and handing it to Governor Abbott, who's in his wheelchair and a blue button down.
I think it's wheeled over, and
then Abbott turns and hands it to a city worker, and it's nothing more than the gold shovel breaking of the dirt kind of deal. It just showed that they were there and they care. But the media ran with that, Ash, and said, you can see here as Governor Abbott chips in with the cleanup effort. I'm like, come on, man. Come on.
Hey, Rob Peavy says not all Yankees have full heads of hair.
Legit point. But that's the thing with Trump is a Yankee. It's hard for him to get away from look at me, look at me, look at me, look what I did. That said, he did.
Marvin Mickers, good morning. Andy Ria Jr., John Johnston, and Torrin Bale says, yeah, Trump didn't announce he was going. Kamala still wouldn't have gone. Yeah,
absolutely. If he hadn't said he was going, they would not have frantically dispatched her to,
Yeah. Matt Ogre says we should roundly reject such nonsense. This is literally them telling us they know nothing of our reality. And there's some truth to that. Although I truly believe that Donald Trump probably knows our reality. He's not experienced it, but I think he's more aware of it than the Biden-Harris administration is. Well, absolutely.
Biden-Harris, they're not aware of much.
Let's take Torres. Good morning. She's watching again. 3 days now for her.
Thanks, Michelle. Let's take a quick break and then we'll talk about the
Christina Wise, who I don't think has ever missed a show. Checking in. Good morning.
Good morning, Christina. Allen's Wrecker Service, 578-6300. Allen's your go-to tow-to. Reach out anytime, day or night, 24 hours a day, anywhere.
7 days a week.
Certainly anywhere within the sound of our voice except Calgary, Alberta, Canada. And you can have Allen's Wrecker Service there for you, 578-6300. The VCS companies for all your surveillance, security, surround sound needs. You want a home theater, you want cameras on your building or your home. If you're a commercial venture, you probably already have VCS as they control that market. They now have that technology, just the same technology that they can impart to your house. I pay $54 a month. I've got two 1080p cameras, all kinds of motion sensors, glass detectors. I got it all. And my neighbors know because every now and then one of us will open the garage. It's like it'll let you know that something's going on. We try not to. I go around and tell them, hey, I'm not the little boy crying wolf. If you hear that, you come running.
You see that you see that story about that dog that went missing as people had searched all over, couldn't find their dog, and all of a sudden, middle of the night, they hear the doorbell ring, and there's the dog staring them in the face, ringing the doorbell, let back in.
Nice. Yeah. The Video Doorbell Pro. You exactly. Can get that at VCS as well. Chesnick Furniture. Control everything in your home with a
from the comfort of your best recliner.
Kick back in a brand new. And you can go in there and say, I don't like that. I don't want that pleather. I don't want any vinyl. I want some leather. They'll order it for you.
Absolutely.
It'll be there. Now I want some corduroy.
Yeah,
I want some of that velour, that rich Corinthian leather.
I want the Naga hide.
Right, Nagas. Well, the Nagas are hard to get these days. But
does anybody's grandparents still cover all their furniture in those plastic slip covers? Does anybody still do that?
Oh, I don't know. It's nice. Chesnick Furniture, 116 West Swan Lynn, downtown Victoria, sunny, downtown Victoria. Veracruz, yesterday, let me tell you, I go in there, I see
the Caldo.
I see Craig and Robbie Lager. I see Callie Fromme. I see Ricky De La Garza. I see Judge Marr.
Ricky's there every day. It never fails. I go there somewhat frequently, but every time I go there, I see Ricky. So he's got to be there every day.
Yeah. He thinks the same about you.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
And you're actually there more than you think. You just kind of subliminally go in there. But the food was phenomenal. Now, T-Lat and I kind of split the system. We get the deluxe super supreme mega whatever nachos. And it's really very good. I'm reading, Maddox says there's no doubt time in D.C. is evenly proportioned.
Inversely proportioned.
But do you realize how early he has to wake up to be that grumpy every day? I mean, he's a grumpy individual, and he's a good friend. I like Matt, but I mean, he's just on a roll. It's like he's seething at 7:15 in the morning. He's not even getting paid to do it.
Didn't get his call though yesterday. Maybe
right? Come to town, give me a call. I'll take you for a call though. So I want to talk for a minute. I want to lighten the subject, although the impetus of the subject is not light. We do not support any type of abuse of women. Unless they ask for it. But here's the deal. What is up with your guy, America's dad?
Not my guy.
Your guy.
No. I was in Canada when he was America's dad. Although I will admit, I bought Jello pudding just because of him.
Pudding. You were defending him when he was being rung up. You were the first guy saying Bill was just a victim of the times. Sure, you give a girl a roofie and tie her up. It's no big deal. Probably not. That's probably not what you said. But Bill Cosby, folks, his conviction completely overturned, expunged, as if it didn't happen. And here's the story. He had been called a person named Conrad was going to trial for something, and Bill was going to give potentially incriminating deposition information to convict that person, and had cut a deal with the district attorney to put away a whole bunch of people that Bill supposedly knew were bad people. In exchange for that, the DA said, no matter what you say, I won't indict you. So it's like if they ask me to testify against Ash, and I say, well, Ash and I brought in the 50 kilos of cocaine, they're going to use that information to put Ash in jail, but because I cut a deal, they're not going to put me in jail, even though I was involved. Well, Bill, through bad timing, had a change of DA. And the other DA said, have you read the stuff that Cosby admits to over here? I'm ringing that dude up, because that DA wanted to make a name for himself. So he rings up Bill Cosby.
And the judge during his trial said that deal didn't matter. We're going forward with this trial.
Right. Well, Pennsylvania Supreme Court.
And I think an appeals court even upheld that judgment.
Right, because everybody was so mad at Bill. They're mad at Bill. Bill is the bad guy, even though he's black. Even though it would have only been better if it had been a white guy. But white people aren't funny. That's the problem. So Bill Cosby goes to the pokey because we've got to do something. Is that a common thread? Do we hear that in America today? We've got to do something about all these women that are all being so mistreated.
Shouldn't have cut the prosecution deal.
Right. So there you go. And now the Pennsylvania Supreme Court says, by the way, you guys y'all screwed Bill.
And then they also say this ain't going back to retrial either. All right. So, but
do you see what T-Lat's saying? T-Lat's doing a little VCS recognizance here. So there was a car parked backed up to the front of our driveway this morning. I'll check the cameras for their license. The car was running. Very odd. Why didn't you pull out that 9mm? You know why? Because
they're on the road.
They're on the road, so T-Lat can't pull that 9mm. Can't brandish a weapon. Thank you, Sheriff Louderback, for our LTC class.
Probably delivering the newspaper.
Probably.
In the neighborhood.
Maybe they just wanted to twerk.
My take on this whole Bill Cosby thing, and I think he's guilty. I mean, he has 65 women that have lined up for decades on him.
Can't do that.
But I think it's indicative, symptomatic of where our government is. They think they can get away with everything. The government cuts a deal, says we're not going to do this. They go back on their word, and then they go and do it. And that's where we are with government. At all levels, folks. That's what happened here. The government overstepped its bounds after agreeing not to do something, and that's just what they do. It's more government abuse, and the government just saying we can do whatever the hell we want, and there's nothing the little people, common man or common woman can do about it. And that's what happens.
So situations plus emotion leads to injustice. A great example, and Ash and I
he served 3 of his 10 years.
He did serve 3. The sentence or the prescribed penalty for his infraction was 3 to 10, and he did almost 3. So you got to figure, honestly, he's an 83-year-old man. That doesn't mean he shouldn't spend the rest of his time in prison. I'm not saying that, but he's an 83-year-old man. He was probably a model prisoner. But it's no different, and Matt Oaker will be proud that I'm going to bring this up. It's no different than when you go back to 9/11, and everybody thought that W was just so good post 9/11. George W. Bush sold your civil rights down the river. All this Patriot Act garbage and giving people, he played on fear and emotion and allowed the government into your cell phone, into your bedroom, into your house.
And called it the Patriot Act. So
called it the Patriot Act. How could you be against the Patriot Act? That would be unpatriotic. Yet those abilities, that's where the FISA courts come from. That's where all that stuff is. goes back to George W. Bush saying, well, we need to be able to listen to your phone call in case you've got nuclear possibilities. Was not a good guy, is not a good guy. Do not be fooled. George W. Bush, bad guy.
Speaking of which, his Secretary of Defense passed away. Was it yesterday? Or at least
Donald
it was announced yesterday.
Rumsfeld?
Donald Rumsfeld passed away.
Interesting guy, Rumsfeld, much traveled, went all the way back to
Served
Nixon.
Gerald, well, I think didn't he serve as Secretary of Defense under Gerald Ford?
Yeah, and he was in the Nixon administration. When you find people like that, and I'm being sincere, Nancy Pelosi, you find people like that, they've been around politics too long. They need to go.
Joe Biden.
Oh, Joe, but what did Matt Oak say? The government does get away with everything. I can't read that.
Some people carry water for them. Others get called grumpy for not doing it.
Absolutely. Matt says Ron Paul warned us from the beginning. I thought it said Ron Paul signed in to watch the show. Yeah. Oh, Henry Kissinger. Mr. President, we have a problem at the White House. Do you remember when Henry used to talk and we thought he was like the smartest guy on the planet?
Yeah. Then he got out of government and kind of exposed himself for not being so smart.
Right?
Kind of like us.
Why isn't anybody calling for the federal building that houses the FBI to have J. Edgar Hoover's name taken off of it?
I have no idea.
Where
if you really think about it, you're going after Bill Cosby. J. Edgar Hoover was as guilty as Bill Cosby for similar type infractions on a lot of people, and even worse, making stuff up and ruining people's lives.
He would have been the guy that said, "Here's the steel."
Here's why. Because the tactics he employed are the same tactics that the left and the socialists and the Marxists in this country who want to take over are doing. That's what they're doing now. If they don't like something you say, they dox you. They get you fired. They absolutely ruin your life. It's McCarthyism on steroids.
It's true.
And J. Edgar Hoover played a huge role in that back then.
He had a file on everybody.
And they will never take his name off because they absolutely idolize the tactics, and they're utilizing those same tactics today.
Where is the outrage of all the Me Too folks and the women's rights groups? Where is the outrage against the sex trafficking and the pedophilic rape of children crossing our borders, being forced into indentured servitude? Where is the productive outrage of those women's groups that I had to take my top off once to audition for a movie? Where's the outrage when little Guatemalan children are being abused systemically?
Well, the same way, because it's not impacting
it doesn't fit
them.
their agenda.
No.
There's
nothing to gain from.
They don't care about justice, people.
No.
All they care about is ruining the country. True statement.
Yep.
Hate to break your heart on a Thursday. You want your heart healed? You want your heart healed? Go to atzenoffer.com. Look at it. They have a beautiful, there's an Escalade out front. It's still $67,000. But the price of cars, it's probably a good investment at this point. I don't know. The price of cars keeps going up, and there's very few out there. Atzenoffer, since 1926, they've ridden the waves of every idiotic president we've ever had. They made it through the Jimmy Carter era. They made it through Bill Clinton in the blue dress. They made it through Barack Obama smoking in the Rose Garden. Atzenoffer, people, they made it through Watergate. They made it through
Bush, listening to your cell phones.
Dwight Eisenhower playing golf at Augusta. They did it all. FDR. People go back. They provided parts for the Doolittle raid. Atzenoffer since 1926.
Simply Victoria's dealers.
Reach out to them. Now much newer, but just as aggressive. White Trash Services, 550-1826. Proud last night, went down to a Generals game, wanted to support Ash. He didn't even notice I was there. That's okay. But White Trash sponsors an event down there with the dumpster. They have the
White Trash Dash, yep.
Teaching the kids to pick up the trash. Well,
Trash
it's a trash can. It's the little that one. Nice, very clean, stylish black with a white logo. I think Wade and Carter ought to be on that. Maybe I'll bring some stickers.
550-1826.
550-1820. It was nice to see Mr. Yoakum and Tracy. Razor IT Solutions, JP Hull. Nothing witty to say about JP. It's just the facts. Things you don't understand, he deals with every day. Your analytics, your data.
He'll outwit you.
He's very, very sharp, and he's very, very brutal. Like somehow Mississippi State winning the national championship, partly because they're from the SEC, partly because they wear maroon. Somehow
Take credit for it. Well, they beat A&M a couple times this year.
And A&M beat Texas, so therefore
A&M is better.
Won the national championship. Razor IT Solutions, he doesn't connect those dots on your behalf. He will solve your IT problems. The law offices of Steve Kidder. Love to hear Steve Kidder's comments on Bill Cosby. The thing I think a lawyer has to do is hold the court accountable for their word. If a judge or someone says, I'm going to cut a deal with you, it needs to be as if it is written in stone. It can't be where well, they told me, oh, really? Do you have that piece of paper? Where did they tell you? You need a lawyer for different things at different times. Reach out to the law offices of Steve Kidder. And then Complete and the Health Bar. The Health Bar right here on Red River. It's open now. You can get you a fruit. I recommend, if you've never been, go get you a fruit waffle. It is just phenomenal. And one waffle, it's not that big. It packed with protein.
I like waffles.
Yeah.
Waffles?
but you also like stand cakes.
That I do.
So folks, I don't mean to be a downer. I don't mean to tell you that I don't want to be that old man that the country's going to hell in a handbasket. But you know what? We're already there. We're already there, man. And don't be surprised. Don't be surprised if one day you turn on the radio and we're just not here. I'm not going to be surprised if somebody comes in and shuts us down somehow, wants to review our taxes or, whatever. It's the way of the world. I saw a deal the other day. Tucker Carlson, a little bigger than us, but obviously an outspoken conservative guy. And the Biden administration, they basically were forced to admit that they've been surveilling the guy. That they've been watching him, the FBI, which is exactly what they denied they were doing to Donald Trump during his campaign, but it is what they were doing.
Well, the Obama administration was doing the same thing. They weaponized the IRS to go after people that spoke out against his administration. So, yeah.
So that's what you do is you go in and you use the government and the government's resources to slander people. Oh, he's a tax evader. Tucker Carlson, tax evader.
But it's not just the Democrats doing it.
No, it's government.
It's government.
And I'm going to tell you something that's going to break your heart. When you get to a certain level, the Democrats are simply trying to push the envelope and expand the melee quicker. When you get to that level of government, you can't tell the good guys from the bad guys. The only one who walked in and said, hey, this is ridiculous. Look at all the red tape to get anything done. Let's gut that department. Get rid of that moron, was Donald Trump. And all God's little sheep out here, namely the Democrats and a lot of the Republicans, were just like, oh, man, he's just way too radical.
The difference is Donald Trump went in with a lot of money, whether on paper or not. He's a rich guy. Everybody else goes in to Congress without that kind of money and then leaves with that kind of money. That's what they're trying to protect. Right. That ability.
They're trying to protect the systemic thievery of the American people. Because, this is not a joke. This is the truth. Billions are enough. But when you get into the business of appropriating and funding and sending around trillions of dollars, to find a way to funnel off 10 or 15 million for yourself just ain't that hard. This is no different than I'm handing Ash a couple of $100 and a couple of pennies falls on the ground and Ash goes, don't worry about it. That's who Congress is picking up the pennies. They're picking up your pennies and they're retiring fat cats.
There was some, sort of supposedly bipartisan report that came out that the new $6 trillion spending plan, infrastructure, whatever they call it, will actually help GDP increase in this country and will somehow lower taxes. I didn't quite follow this logic, but then they said in the report, it'll pay for itself with the unspent money from the COVID relief plans. How does something pay for itself if it's just using tax dollars that hadn't been spent yet?
Right.
The logic was, but most people go, oh, well, hey, if we haven't spent money, it'll pay for itself. It ain't paying for itself.
Yeah.
It ain't generating nothing.
Government does nothing that pays for itself. You pay for it. Government can't do anything without your money. I still think.
And that's where I have a problem too with some of the stuff. Well, we'll go get a grant and do it. Well, it's still our money, just from a different pot. We're going to go to get it from the federal government instead of the local government, or from the state government instead of from the local government. It's still taxpayer dollars. It's not like, but you play the game. Well, if we don't go get it, somebody else will go get our money. So
I still believe that Ash and I, could attain some national recognition and probably get ourselves thrown off the air by starting a movement that suggested that folks just don't file their income taxes next year. Just don't do it. Just let the IRS come look for you. Have the guts to stand up and say, no taxation without representation. If you feel represented by the idiots in Congress, no offense, Michael Cloud, we like you, Michael. But if you feel like Congress as a whole represents your interest as an American, then file your income tax. If you don't, be a patriot. And just say, guess what? I'm not fine. You only they're taking your W-2 money anyway. That's already gone. So at the end of the year, when I end up owing them another $8,000 or $10,000, I ain't filing the report. I ain't doing it. Come get me. And if I do it, they will come get me. But if me and Ash do it, they got to hire somebody. And if me, you, and Ash, and 50,000 people in this county did it, they'd have to open a satellite office down here to come get all of us. The next thing you know, and would they? I don't know. At some point, they might actually go, hey, those Texans are making some noise down there.
Yeah, speaking of some noise down there, Matt Oker says, do it locally. Stop paying your property tax. There's a group of Texans calling for Governor Abbott to include property tax in the special session. It's the Texas Freedom Caucus. They're saying we need to replace our property tax system in whole or part, reform our appraisal system, or otherwise provide relief to hardworking Texans. They want Texans to call, write, email, tweet, message Governor Abbott and say this needs to be included in the special session. And it's gaining traction in social media, folks. So
there's no getting around.
It might be hard for the governor to ignore this one.
Lisa Poole says Michael Cloud was awesome and on point yesterday on Fox Business. Michael's getting a stronger voice, and Michael's utilizing that. And make no mistake, I can rant about Congress. I've got absolutely nothing but adoration for Michael Cloud. Now, the next step of that, and everybody that knows, Judge Zeller, dear friend of mine, respect him, trust him, believe in him. He's involved with the CAD, but he's not the boss of the Central Appraisal District. He's not the boss of the CAD, but he's like on the board or whatever. And really, nobody really knows. The appraisal system in our area has shifted all of the property tax burden to the homeowner and not to the business owner. Now, I'm not suggesting we raise taxes on businesses. I'm saying we square everything up. There's a lot of property that's owned, especially in the downtown area. All these people that want to spend all this money renovating downtown Just get the taxes right downtown, and downtown will renovate itself. There's a building sitting at the corner right across from 205, that old federal building. It's a gorgeous building. Lee Keeling used to have his, I think, right? You walk in Keeling, used to have their offices in there. And it used to be a post office at one time to the corner of William and Constitution.
Yeah, I know.
And it's a beautiful building. And it's owned by these.
I just corrected you, Zeller, who's on the CAD board. Kevin Yannick is.
Okay, good. Thank you. And by the way, I'm not trying to indict anybody there. I'm not suggesting any of this is their fault. I'm saying that Kevin Yannick will be the first one to tell you, I don't know what's going on at the CAD. I mean, nobody knows what's going on. Nobody really tells them what to do. But that building is on the books for like.
Until you look at whose property gets valued certain ways and whose property gets valued.
Well, right. It would be as if you found out that Kevin Yannick's house was on the books for like $25,000, right? Okay. No, but here's the deal. Kevin's a great guy, honest guy. I'm not even making jokes Kevin's way. I'm saying that
40 cities, former city managers who lived in areas where houses should be appraised. They were.
Yes. Well, when you look at,
so you can't tell me the CAD doesn't play some games.
There's no doubt they do, and people know how to manipulate the CAD. They know how to go down and manipulate those people. Because
that building
is on the books for like $80,000. It would cost $250,000 to put a new roof on that building. I mean, that building.
But you're not buying that building for $80,000.
No, that building's probably, as it sits, worth $2.5 million. So here's the point: if you want to renovate downtown, put the $2 million value on that building that it has, and now instead of paying $2,000 a year for taxes, and saying, "Now I'll get to it next year. It's only $2,000. The guy has to pay $50,000 a year for taxes. $50,000. I better get a tenant. I better do some landscaping
or sell it,
or sell it to somebody that's going to renovate it. If you just get the CAD right, renovation downtown will take care of itself.
Well, if you get rid of property taxes, I think you'll be fine. You got to figure out a way. I mean, you become slave to the government.
And it used to kind of
consumption taxes. As the older I get, that's the way to go.
Yeah, and it used to get to me when people would say, "Well, you never really own your home because you're working for the government," and I'm like, "Well, yeah, but didn't we all kind of get together and say, hey, look, we will collectively agree to be taxed in order to provide certain things like safety, like the police department, good roads, infrastructure. We want those things. And we're going to appoint representatives like the city council to help manipulate those funds that we willingly cede over to a local government." I'm all for that. I don't look at that as being theft. I mean, they say all taxation is theft. Well, you kind of lose me there because
I don't know if we ever made that, because if you look back to the history of this country, companies used to build the roads and the houses for the people that worked in their factories in proximity. I think the government got in there and said, "Oh, we need to control this. You can't build the houses for your workers." And
is that probably more how it went along? Is that probably at a time when corporations didn't pay taxes, like paid 5% taxes and spent the money on the community, as opposed to now they pay 45% tax? And
I don't know, at one point they were paying like 90%. So I don't know.
I don't know. It's a mess. It's time to start over. I suggest we start over by just not filing a tax return in 22. Just don't do it. Can you imagine if 90,000 people in Victoria County, Texas, just didn't send in a tax return? What if we as a county just said, we're not going to take it? Can you imagine the publicity? Can you imagine the corporations that would say, I want to go there? Those are like-minded, freedom-seeking people.
Richard King says your road taxes are in your gas taxes, so how is an electric car going to pay for repairs on roads? Well,
that's the interstate highway system.
They're already proposing increase on truckers and such. So
yeah,
cost of goods is going to go up. That's something else that we got to talk about. We probably don't have time today. We'll probably get to it more tomorrow. But some of the latest tax plans by the Biden administration, they want to start taxing appreciation. They want to start taxing your net worth.
Yeah, that's because they're clamoring for money for all the money they're giving away to people with no net worth.
Yeah. So
interesting. Quick break. Motto Mortgage, Terry Murray. It's a place you can control your own destiny, a place you can save your family money. I love it that one of our listeners went in and said, are these guys for real? They're saying I can take money out and redo my kitchen and lower my monthly payment. And Terry goes, well, I'll shop it. Sure enough, cash out refi and lowered their monthly payment.
Yep.
Reach out to Terry Murray and Motto Mortgage, 541-5454.
Wind services for all your electrical needs, plumbing needs. You want a backup generator, now's the time. There's a storm brewing in the Atlantic, and they say it's probably going to run right over Cuba and into the Gulf by early next week. So they might not get it in yet.
Why did I
In
just
time
think
for that,
of
but
she ran calling wildfire?
I don't know.
I
I don't know why.
Little Michael Martin Murphy just came out of nowhere there. There's a storm brewing in the Atlantic.
Daniel White says, so with my negative net worth, am I going to get a check?
You should
No,
get
they're
a
going to
check.
tax you on your negative net
No.
worth too.
The fact that you should get a check. I think everybody should get a check. USA Concrete Coatings, 578 Home. Reach out to Charlie Garcia. Let him come out. He'll clean, seal the cracks in your garage floor, and put down a tough as nails polyurethane coating that's way tougher than epoxy.
He could put that coating on your slab for your whole home backup generator.
Absolutely. 578 Home. Charlie, anywhere that you've got, a porch, a patio, a pool deck,
Sidewalks.
If you've got that old pebble, exposed pebble pool deck that kind of dates your pool back to the early 90s, let him come out and put down a brand new, fresh.
Just wait a little bit. That'll come back in style.
It's coming like bell bottoms. And then the Gray Barn. If you've got a party coming up, if you've got a sales meeting coming up, I'm really focusing on the sales meeting side of this deal. 920-6803. VISD could benefit. I'm not joking. You want to have something fun to get your
Cheryl's got nothing to do Monday to Friday.
920-6803. Reach out to Cheryl at the Gray Barn. You better watch it since she's got nothing to do.
I said that with a chuckle.
Yes, I heard the chuckle.
It was a joke.
Cheryl, I heard the chuckle. I heard him chuckle, Cheryl.
So NCAA yesterday announced that they're going to let kids start making money off their name, image, likeness. The NAIA kind of already allows this because they've allowed college athletes to work.
So what does that mean, though?
And help pay it.
If you're somebody that's not there anymore,
Johnny Manziel.
Okay, so if I'm Johnny Manziel and I win the Heisman Trophy, could I get with Adidas through an agent even? Could I get with Adidas and have a commemorative Johnny football jersey made that had the Heisman Trophy on it?
Could not use. My understanding is it could not use the A&M brand. You might even end up in a little issue.
Why couldn't I negotiate? How about this? I'm a big time quarterback, and I go, well, I want to come in, but I also want to co-brand with you. Couldn't I negotiate that in my recruiting? And by the way, because that's how
she heard the chuckle.
That's how big the athletes are getting now. That's how much control we're giving to 18-year-old kids and their illiterate parents. That's how much control we're giving. I want Bubba to play defense. Okay, and by the way, he's going to put a Longhorn on his shirt over here and Bubba on the right, and we're going to sell him for $19.99.
I don't think they can use the school brands. They can now charge for autographs.
Could they pay a royalty? The first time that I go to a Texas game and some college kid tries to charge my kid for an autograph, I just would never go back.
I don't think they can do it at the game, but I think they can go set up and
they just won't sign autographs at the game.
Possibly.
Coach, I can't come to practice. I got an autograph session over at Academy.
But here's the
It's in my contract. It's in my contract.
And here's where the state of Texas and all this, they didn't think this through beyond Division I Power 5 conference athletics.
Right.
The state of Texas put a rule in or passed a law, and I think Governor Abbott signed it. And student athletes are going to have to voluntarily disclose this information to their athletic departments. I don't know of any athletes beyond Division I, and there are a few. They've got lots of Instagram followers or lots of TikTok followers, and they're probably making money on the ads that are sold because they've got 2 million followers, right?
It's crazy. These kids have tons and tons of followers.
Every time one of these athletes gets one of these deals with a company, a brand to help to help sell it, they're supposed to report that to the athletic department. That's fine and dandy for UT, who've got 20 gazillion people in their compliance department.
Right.
What do you do with this information when you get it?
Honestly, what if you're Baylor? And no kidding, and you've got 3 people in your compliance department. And I'm not exaggerating.
What if
you've
you're
got
UHB
3
and
people?
I'm the compliance department?
Right.
You know, I mean, that's where these things didn't get thought beyond the Division I because that's where all the focus is. But now I could have nobody doing any sort of name, image, likeness deals,
Right.
but somehow I've still got to report that somewhere, and I don't even know where that is because the NAI doesn't really have a mechanism for it yet. They're still trying to work this through. Although the NAI allows it because it's kind of an extension of basically a job, right? You knock the phone off, it's talking to us. That's all.
I apologize.
So,
Well, I think it's going to be interesting. I'll tell you that, and I don't know.
Jennifer Raymond says, so you're saying the state was short-sighted?
Well, I could be dead wrong here, but I'll tell you this.
No, they just didn't look past the UT and the A&M.
That's what I'm saying. How can Texas Tech, fine athletic program, really been on the rise lately?
Especially in basketball and baseball. I had this discussion yesterday.
Okay, so if you're a kid who can play baseball, and I say, kid, not only do we want you here at Texas, but we have 500,000 living alumni, and we're in a city of 1.5 million people, and they all want to wear your jersey.
No, my understanding is
I'm gonna go to Lubbock.
the way the rules have been written is you can't use that for recruiting.
Come
match.
on, man.
Yeah, I know.
You don't think somebody's going to say, do you want to go to the city of Houston with 4 million people and sell your Phi Slamma Jamma jersey? Or do you want to go to Waco and play at Baylor? I mean, if money enters the picture, nobody benefits more than the University of Texas. Nobody on the planet. Got the #1 brand, got the most profitable sports program.
Well, here's why I think
I don't think it's right.
Division I athletes are going to have trouble even using their school colors. If it's
It's okay because they'll all wear black and white. I mean, that's hot everywhere.
If it's burned orange. And Texas already did this a few years ago with an apparel company that was using burnt orange. Yeah. They weren't using the Longhorn. They weren't using any marks. They were using burnt orange, and Texas shut them down.
Yeah, they basically copyrighted that. But what if it's crimson red? Or, I guess Michigan could maybe get away with blue and maize. I don't know. Let's get the brother man on and see what he thinks about it.
But it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out on the landscape in college athletics. I mean, but let's be honest. If boosters wouldn't have taken advantage of the situation when college kids could work to help pay for school and give them a $30,000 a year job washing cars at the car wash or at the car dealer and Oklahoma, Texas, let's be honest.
Sure.
And never having to show up for work, but still get paid $30,000 and drive a brand new car off the lot every time they wanted one.
Yeah, Bomar, Bomar, remember him?
Yeah, so I mean I remember that. The problem is college athletics has led themselves down this path.
Well, there was one where a kid was paid to make sure that the water sprinklers came on to water the field, and except that it was a turf field. Yeah. The other thing is, you remember when you
got to keep that rubber dust down.
When Bill Clements was involved with the chicanery at SMU, he literally told like an NCAA prosecutor or investigator, well, yes, even after we got reprimanded, we continued to pay that kid because we had made a deal with him. We owed him that money. Unbelievable. SMU really kind of ruined it for everybody, and the NCAA realized we can't give people the death penalty. That'll never happen again. So now they've gone the other way and said, just let the.
And there are schools that probably deserve the death penalty more than SMU deserved the death penalty since then. USC,
yeah. Oh, USC for sure. I mean, they didn't just give.
Oh no, they gave Reggie Bush's whole family.
Everybody got a mobile home. Everybody. Yeah, he's doing great. Boy, he had talent.
Stanley Cup half minute. Montreal outplays Tampa Bay yesterday, loses 3-1.
I thought you told me that Tampa Bay was going to sweep this thing.
They are. They're up 2 games to 1. 2 games to none because Tampa Bay won it. Montreal outplayed them but did not win the game.
Both of you boys are on your picks. You're picking Tampa Bay at 5 games. You pick
Mississippi
Mississippi State,
State.
come back.
Yes, sir.
Right on
Yes,
that.
sir.
Texas would have beat Mississippi State that last game. They'd have won the World Series.
I-
I believe that.
I do too. If Texas would have beat, if, yeah,
Texas-
ifs and buts, right?
Yeah.
Tell us what's going on, boss.
How are you, brother?
I'm good, boys. Good to see you. I heard y'all all. Of course, you were up in the stands. Your family. I talked to your children.
Yes, sir.
One of them.
Yeah, Kate was there.
And he was talking big boy.
He is a big old kid, isn't he?
He's a good kid.
And takes after his stepdad.
I didn't see yours, Ash, but they usually hunt me down, and
They
we'll
do.
look forward to them, see if they're there tonight. But anyway, it's good to see all of you. Amanda called me, Bloschke. She checked in with me last night, so I knew they were there.
Yep.
Did we win? Last night?
No.
We lost. Okay.
We were up 5-2 when I left.
Lost 12-8.
Woo, they scored some
I left and turned into a softball game.
4.5 hour marathon.
I'm gonna trump you real quick here, brother man. Robert Constantine says, "Hey, Project Tickled Pink raffle tickets go on sale starting today."
Good deal.
$10 ticket, you get a chance to win a whole bunch of great
Yeah, they've got
prizes.
almost $7,500 worth of stuff they're going to give away. in the
We're all
raffle.
working on having all three of us.
Fantastic.
All four of us.
Excited for
Look
that.
forward to it.
Great cause.
Great calls. All right, real quickly, boy, a few events. 4th of July, ATV Plus, Independence Day Parade, your daughter's working weekend before. That's going to be over there on Saturday morning parking lot, ATV, 2 to 12 years old. It's good stuff, 9 o'clock in the morning. Sunday, 2 of them, Veterans Appreciation Picnic for all vets and families, free from 4 to 7, free food, free drink, Patriot Park. You want to go by there, any veterans and their families, it's all free. And then we'll be at the Winter Light Blast Off. You're invited, guys. Come to the hospitality area. That's going to be starting 6:15 that night. Bag of donuts, big band out of Louisiana, New Orleans. Fireworks, carnival going on, the whole works.
Those aren't donuts.
No, really interesting though.
I know, but those are beignets.
But so they're called bag of donuts.
Uh-huh.
I thought it was interesting and heard the other day that Bag of Donuts, that's the name of the band, is the only band that's just a cover band. They play other people's music.
Dressed up in rock stars.
And they're the only band ever inducted into the Louisiana Music Hall of Fame
Really?
that are a cover band.
That's true. As a cover band.
Can you name
So-
any of those other great Louisiana bands? I mean, right?
Well, they're
Spirit-
not like the
Font-
Spazmatics.
font-
Buckwheat Zydeco.
Fontenot and the P Rose. I mean, come on.
They're like the Spazmatics.
Right.
It's going to be good stuff.
They're
My
good.
question- Mustn't be nothing going on in Louisiana on July 4th for them to have to come to Texas to play.
But-
My mom's in.
Brother Gary, look at that. So Ash's mom, Tina Wallich, I'm sure they think you're just the crazy kid that ran off to America. His mother says, "Love your outfit, Ash. Good to see Canada remembered." Tina,
Canada didn't die.
we love you, Tina. We recognize Canada every day. She's in sunny Calgary, Alberta, Canada. What's the weather going to be for your mom?
97 today for the high.
Stay inside, Tina. Stay inside.
Take care, Mom. We love you.
There you go.
All right, boys, got some sports here. You ready?
We're ready.
All right, stats. Here's the up-to-date stats, 2021 baseball season. Average, Vlad Guerrero, 344. Our boy from the Astros, close, Michael Brantley, 341.
Boy, Michael Brantley is just clutch.
Yeah, he's close.
Bob Wiley says the Neville brothers. Good call, Bob.
Very good call.
All right, buddy. On home runs, Shohei Ohtani, 28. Our closest one, Jose Altuve, 17.
Isn't that crazy?
Otani got pulled. He didn't even get out of the second inning yesterday. Got
Well,
shelled.
But when you hit 28 before the break, you don't have to pitch.
Didn't
Right.
pitch last night. Gave up 7 to the Yankees in an inning and a third or
Wow.
something like that. Or not even. 2/3 of an inning, maybe.
He's probably 2-2 right there, pitching.
Crazy.
Crazy. He's going to be in the home run derby contest. They
Yeah.
talked to him. He said, "Yeah, I want to do it." They said, LA said,
Why wouldn't
"Go
he?"
ahead."
That's cool.
I said, "We'll watch that one." Vlad is on RBI 66. He's got Guerrero and Yuli, our closest one, 52.
That Vlad Guerrero Jr. is a fantastic baseball player. And he's great at first base. Just a really, you would think that he's, second generation major leaguer like Ken Griffey Jr. or Barry Bonds, but he's good.
Well, what's apparent with him is he got all of his dad's ability to hit, did not get his dad's arm, or he wouldn't be playing first base.
Right.
Vlad had,
First base.
a lot of people talk about Vlad's ability to hit a pitch that was anywhere not even in the
Hit it
strike zone.
out.
He can hit.
But,
He's a hand-
Boy, he had an arm. Nobody ran on him once they realized this guy could throw you out from second to third on a ball hit to
You
center
gotta
field.
love a guy named Guerrero, whose first name is Vladimir.
Guerrero and Gurriel in the RBI contest right there. And the best pitcher, ERA wise, and best pitcher in baseball, the boy from the New York Mets. Y'all know him, Jacob DeGrom.
Yeah,
And
he's
he has been,
0.69.
but his record's like,
7-2.
they was laughing because at one point he was like 1-2, and he had like a .01
Yeah.
ERA.
Well, he's playing for the Mets.
He'd be 14-0 being a little more.
Absolutely,
He's 14-0.
no doubt about it.
He's terrific. All right, deserving of the All-Star game for the Astros. You'll love this one right here. Here's the guys they think could be on the All-Star team. Closing it out tonight, I think.
We had 7 guys on the
7 guys.
make the next step. I don't even know what the hell's going on with the All-Star game now. Astros had 7 guys
7 guys.
that got promoted to the next level or something to make the final cut. I mean, it's just stupid.
But Joe Biden will start at second base.
Okay. I didn't see what it
Right? No, he'll come in with some phantom votes late in the deal.
Listen to this. I'll give you second. Brantley for second baseman. Brantley, the 6th highest outfielder. He can make it really easy. Gurriel, second place for first base.
Guerrero's got first.
Yeah.
Carrera, he's third. He's down to third at shortstop right now. Maldonado, third for the catcher. I mean, they're all up there.
Just some
Jordan
catcher.
Alvarez, third behind the DHs.
You know, when
They're all
you
up there.
had the other night, Altuve was batting 292, and then when you go through Correa, Gurriel, Brantley, they're all batting well over 300.
Over 300.
And so, and to me, Altuve plays like a 300 hitter just because it says 292. He'll hit leadoff home runs, but the guys are when they lost again last night. It just doesn't concern me. I don't know.
Detroit.
But it doesn't concern me
5-2
because
last night. Oh, it concerns me. Yeah.
it doesn't concern me because when they're healthy, when Bregman's back, and when they're healthy, we're going to be okay.
Our 2 pitchers that has a chance to make it, they said are Zach Greinke and Jose Urquidy. Baker says we'll get 4 or 5 on there at least.
Probably.
Urquidy's hurt. He had a shoulder twinge, but Greinke's 7-2, 8-2.
Yeah,
And,
he's looking
Really has pitched really well. It's like a old school seminar when he pitches. He's throwing it up there 85 miles an hour, and they can't hit it. Matt Oger, thanks for your contributions
Appreciate
today.
it today. Happy
Hope you
Canada
guys
Day,
have a great
everybody.
day, Brother Gary. We love you, sir. You know
See
that.
y'all mañana.
Everybody have a great day. We'll see you mañana. Bye, folks.
Bye.